kind of genesis of where I'm coming from. I know you've listened to some of it. I did a talk at a conference a little while ago, and the topic of that conference, the question of it was called, "Where do we go from here?"
I love that question, by the way. It's a great question.
We had 12 really amazing talks. It was fantastic, and so the idea is like, well, what's the worst case scenario? I mean, it's lovely that you have this this community that you've got here, Adam.
Yeah.
But what happens if suddenly Susan Wojcicki says, "I don't like this Krigler guy. Let's nuke him off our platform." And
knock on wood. Hold on, I'm knocking on wood first before we continue.
Yeah. And then Patreon and Subscribestar or other support methods for you say, well, actually, we don't. You know, if Susan's done this, oh, we can't have this. You know, and you have no real access. Like maybe you have a Telegram channel that allows you to contact your fan base.
True. Well, just for the record, everyone, if this does happen, you guys know you can go follow me over on Odyssey, the Krigler Show. That's where I will be continuing, just in case this does happen. Just got to lay that down. Anyway, please continue. But if it does happen, right? If it does
happen, right? So
cut off, right?
It's a worst case scenario. Then, like, what kind of connections do you have in your personal life that are going to like be there to support you? You know, and outside of like the kind of influencer circles, what are people who don't have necessarily the people who are as invested in them, so with so many people invested in them? I mean, we talk to thousands of people a week, and you know, there's a good committed number of people who care about what we want to say and want to see us come back. But for like any random member of an audience who's just trying to coast by and get something into the, you know, listen to something which is not completely paused, as we say, then this is a little bit different. So to that end, there is the Basketweavers project, and that's really what I think the solution is on an individualized level that will help people to positively engage, build skills, build community, and develop themselves in essentially, you know, a more stress-free environment. I can see you've got the website up there. That's unpopular.academy/basket weaving. We have Basket Weavers sort of started out as a meme.
Okay.
So a friend of mine who also has a YouTube channel, The Academic Agent, he basically said on an episode of his weekly show on Popular Opinions, he said, you know, we should get together, we should do like something completely apolitical, and let's just go weave baskets, right? And this became a bit of a joke that like, we would all be this kind of deplorable gang of basket weavers. You know, the FBI opens up and we're all weaving baskets, looking around slightly confused, you know.
Like what? And, just baskets.
It's just baskets, bro. So this was sort of pre-COVID, and we set up a Discord server, and we thought, you know, like this idea has a bit of merit. Like not just weaving baskets, we should get together and do distinctly apolitical things, because as we can all agree, and one of the prevailing messages from the conference that I was at, and I've been in this business for 4 or 5 years now, and every single live meetup, you get the same message from people, which is somebody thinks like me, and it's so much more real. It's so much more real. It's so much more meaningful. There's something fundamentally different about this, about being in a room with someone, about having a drink with people, about doing something positive with people who are of a similar mindset. Because a lot of these people, as you say, many of their families have turned against them, they feel like, which is very sad. And they have no one to turn to. So apart from, as I say, these online communities, which are under constant threat, we don't really have a platform of our own that's safe from any kind of curation or censorship.
True.
And we need to also be building up bastions of not just community, but also knowledge, which will survive anything which they can throw at us. You know, to this end, we encourage our members to build collections of physical items, particularly books, artwork, and so on, because it's not just that it's important culturally, but you will enrich your life by always having access to these things. It will get you thinking more in the real world. In my talk, I talk about the huge number of abstractions that are built up over time through our society, from really the genesis of the 20th century up until modern day.
Give me an example of an abstraction. What are you referring to?
So an abstraction might be a really basic example might be money. So everything used to be cash. Now everything's basically contactless. If you lose your bank account and your savings, like that all gets tied up in escrow and you can't do anything about it. Whereas before, it was a physical commodity. It was also backed by a physical commodity.
Right. Not anymore, sadly.
Which hasn't been for a long time.
Yeah, long time.
And we're pursuing ever greater abstractions with regards to currency. I mean, the crypto market, for all its pros and cons, is really pushing the limit of what people will accept as a form of currency.
True.
And so something like Basketweavers, I see as unpicking a lot of little abstractions. Like you've got dating is one which is really abstracted. Sex has been abstracted to all these dating apps. The potential to date has even been reduced to like whether or not someone swipes right on your profile.
Right.
And as all the data shows, it's the same 4 guys on Tinder who are getting all the matches, whilst
is that right? Is that real?
Yeah. Whilst all the others are, I think it's something like 81% of men are competing for the bottom 22% of women.
Wow.
Right. So, according to their statistics, so you are in a really big pickle with this sort of thing, and there's no kind of room for personality or anything like it. It's shallow, it's superficial. It's entrenched in a hookup culture, which is like this kind of pressure that once you do get a match, you've got to capitalize on it, and then of course it doesn't typically end well.
I can't stand that whole thing anyway. Also, also because you can't feel someone's, I don't know, aura. You get a sense of someone when you're nearby them that you can get along. I mean, you feel the way that they carry themselves, the way that they're feeling. There's something so lost.
The way they laugh
on everything. You don't understand. You don't feel it until you're actually around them. Tinder it's kind of like it's text based, and anyone can images. I mean, I was modeling for most of my adult life. That was my career, and I mean, there were some ugly people. Like no joke. There some of the people were not very attractive. Of course, it's a perspective issue. But then I see the makeup go on, and then I see the pictures, and I'm like, I can't believe this person is this person. There's those videos of them just completely. There was that like toothless woman who was like, you know what I'm talking about? That makeup video where she goes from toothless to like, I don't know, look, because she's toothless. She kind of looks like she was a crackhead for a while. And then suddenly she's got teeth and she looks like a completely different person. Like there's also that, that you can't get the whole vibe of someone. It's incredible.
We can even broaden this out. I mean, there's a whole spectrum of social media, dating media, and everything else. And all of it is competing for your attention. A lot of the time I see on the nominally right and also the center, are people complaining about government sort of overreach and also like particularly education, like sex education is one of the big things, like this is something that parents should be teaching, etc. But we've given over so much more than just the education system.
True.
We've given away all of our free time in a lot of cases. People spend all of their time on social media. They joke about it, but it is true.
If you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
You are the product.
Remember that, people.
Absolutely. And all of these things are gamified in such a way to hit your dopamine receptors. I mean, there's a reason why people chase clout on whatever platform it happens to be. There's a reason why like middle-aged women will post, not again on their Facebook profile, knowing full well that all the wine aunts will get around. Oh, message me, hun. We'll do all right. You know, like these people who should
I'm here for you.
Yeah, I'm here for you. You know, they're getting that little bit of a kick, that little bit of catharsis, but it's all very superficial, very surface level stuff. And in a similar way, whilst I do appreciate, I mean, I've got, I run my own Discord server. I have some really committed people who are in there basically every day. They really enjoy the interactions, people from all countries. And, but, you know, if push comes to shove and there's like a worldwide power cut, you know, or they start saying things like, I mean, we've got the lockdowns for the vaccine at the moment, but the climate activists are agitating for, you know, climate emergency lockdowns and stuff like that.
And they'll probably do it too, which is nuts.
You can see power rationing being a part of that, and data rationing as well. So if you lose these connections, do you have real meaningful ways of either connecting with them outside of the usual channels of the internet, or do you have people close by who you can rely on in a pinch?
Well, I feel like most people are going to be completely lost, because imagine if it wasn't just the internet, right? Imagine if it was electricity, complete and utter, like, for example, a solar flare. We could get hit with a solar flare and have our entire power network knocked out. Would you guys be all right? Would you be good without a fridge, without a store that has food in it? Can you hunt? You know how to grow and store food for the winter? I mean, these are things that are baseline for humans of our entire like history of being humans. Like, that's what our baseline was. We took out the baseline like a carpet underneath our feet. We'd be flipped up.
If you do, even if you do know these things, do you have the space? I got friends in the architecture world, and you see the designs for the new high street, and it's like every town is a city. You know, there's no room for gardens. There's no room for anything. It's like one of my friends, Owine, described it as a ham sandwich effect. If you take a building like this, and there's a load of layers in the middle, and if you remove the ham, boom, you've got a European sort of city street, typical street. But then as you get more and more ham, the more American it gets.
That's funny,
right? And we see that kind of creeping over here as well, and this idea of maximizing profit as well, without the idea. It's not about building homes for people, you know. It's about building homes which will turn a profit, which I think is also a problem.